Hello, welcome back to Toy Thursday with Johnny Tiger on May 25th, 2023. You are looking at a fearsome, not dinosaur. Yes, I know, a lot of people think this is a dinosaur. And in fact, if you are not a dinosaur or prehistoric animal geek like me, or just into marine biology and stuff like that, you would think that this is some kind of a marine dinosaur. But in fact, this thing is called a Mosasaurus, a mosasaur. And yes, the name even sounds like a dinosaur, but it is not. Okay, a mosasaur is was a marine reptile, a marine lizard that roamed and ruled the Earth's ocean about 70 million years ago. In the beginning, about 95 million years ago, this was a tiny 3 foot long lizard living on land, being chased all over the place by giant dinosaurs. And then it decided, okay, I have enough of being bullied on the land, and it went into the water. And 6 million years later, it grew into this 50-foot long, gigantic ruler of the sea. A lot of people call them the T-Rex of the ocean, and that is very, very accurate. Mosasaur was able to grow up to 8 tons in weight and about 50 foot long. And mosasaur bones have been found all over the world, every corner of the globe. So these things were literally everywhere. That's how successful they were. Nothing was able to stop them until the extinction event that wiped out most of the life forms on Earth. As human beings, we are really lucky that by the time we came on to the scene, these things were extinct already. Can you imagine running into this in the ocean? Before you start to wonder, no, it is not International Dinosaur Day or Lizard Day or Marine Reptile Day or anything like that. However, today is Geek Pride Day or Nerd Pride Day, so I opened the video with this very impressive Mosasaur action figure made by Mattel. I can't believe I just said that. Very impressive action figure made by Mattel. You don't hear that very often, but to give credit where credit is due, Mattel has made some extremely impressive Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, dinosaur, monster, creature action figures. Uh, and this mosasaur, uh, when it came out about, uh, I think 2018 or 2017, uh, it was impressive. It's still very impressive. This one is definitely one of my favorite action figure in my collection. And we are going to take a look at it and its cousin today. Because in addition to being Geek Pride Day, today is also uh, plastic free International Plastic Free Day. Now, there's some kind of irony here that is Plastic Free Day, and we're looking at a plastic toy, plastic action figure. And believe me, this is something that I have struggled with myself a lot in the past, thinking about, wow, everybody wanting to be environmental and stuff like that. So, me being a action figure collector, that's almost I don't know, like wrong, isn't it? Uh, but you know what? Then I really justify this to myself. I'm able to justify this to myself uh, because most of the time we talk about plastic polluting the environment. We are talking about plastics that we throw out and end up in the ocean, in the water. So if I'm collecting action figures, I'm not throwing these plastic out. So I cherish these plastic. So I'm not polluting the environment. If I throw these action figure out, then I pollute the environment. So it's more reason for me to keep them. Furthermore, me as a blind person, I already help the environment by not driving and not using a lot of the stuff that I would have been using if were I sighted and be able to ride a motorbike or drive a private jet or get a speedboat or drive a truck or stuff like that, right? I'm not doing any of that. So I'm already doing my part for the environment. So if I'm going to collect some plastic action figure, hey, whatever, right? Anyway, that is how I justify this to myself. Um, However, the reason why this mosasaur, actually not this one, but the cousin of this one, I'm going to show you guys, uh, does have an interesting tie-in with environment and recycle and all that stuff. Okay. But before we get there, let's take a quick look at this one. Believe I shown this one uh, before in earlier video when I showed some giant dinosaur toys. This one now it's I will say this, it's a little bit smaller than how I would like it, but it's big. It's big enough. Okay. As I pointed out, uh, real mosasaur was able to grow up to about 50 foot in length, which means if you convert that to 1/12 or 6-inch scale action figure, uh, then where an inch equals a foot, then you need to make a mosasaur that's about 50 inches long. Would I love to have a 50-inch long mosasaur? Sure, I would love that, but I also realized one, that would be very difficult to sell because it would require a super big box. And two, not too many people, including myself, would have the space to display something like that. Just this one and its cousin, I already find it very difficult to find place to display them. And this is not a midget either. This one is from snout to tail. It's about 29 inches long. Okay, so it's not as big as it could have been, but comparing to most action figure, it's plenty big. And we'll really see that when we get to the size comparison near the end of the video, where we'll have some fun watching this mosasaur or the other mosasaur eat a variety of action figures. Um, So this one was marked as Real Feel Mosasaurus by Mattel when it was first released. Like I said, it's 29 to 30 inches long. It has a light blue body with some silver streaks, and the eyes are yellow, I believe. Now, as you can see, this is so big that I can't even film this in my regular setup. Like, I literally am using my microwave as a backdrop here, and this thing is longer than my microwave is long. Like, if I was trying to cook this, if I want to cook this in my microwave, not that I would, I don't think Mosasaurus meat would be very tasty. Um, I think well, I am sure that like unless I pull it apart to cut it out, there's no way this thing would fit in my microwave. It's bigger than my microwave. Okay, so it's definitely definitely big. And just look at that fearsome jaw, and the mouth full of sharp teeth. Um, Now this one has an interesting selling point where the body is very textured. Like the texture on this thing is beautiful. It feels like alligator. How do I know that? Because I felt a real alligator before. I pet a real alligator before. And this thing really has that gator feel to it. Uh, Part of it is also well kind of soft. Uh, Part of the body is kind of soft. Like if you squeeze it, it kind of flex. Okay, it's hollow inside. But uh, be warned, do not put this in the water as a pool toy. Right? This is not sealed. It's not airtight. So if you throw it in the water, you're going to have a hard time draining the water and drying out the inside. Uh, it looked like something that it would be fun to play in the water for children, but it's not. It's not made to be a pool toy. Like you'll have a really hard time drying it out, and it's going to get moldy and stinky and all that stuff. So yeah, don't put it in water. It's not meant for that. Uh, but it does look like something that it would be a lot of fun in the tub or in the pool uh, and stuff like that. Like I said, this version has a almost realistic feel skin, uh, kind of squishy, soft body, and it has a articulation in the jaw. So that, excuse the hand. I usually don't interact with this on camera, but this is so big. I guess it's okay. So the jaw can open, shut like this. Ow! It bit me. Yeah. Uh, and the flippers, let me pull the camera back a little bit. The flippers, there's four of them, two on this side, two on the other side. These are articulated too. They can come out and in and rotate. Okay, the front flippers are a lot bigger than the ones in the back. And I hope you guys can make it out. The flippers are also lovingly textured. There's a beautiful texture on this action figure. Now we're going to bring in the cousin, and then we'll talk more about Mosasaurus. So what made Mosasaurus so fearsome, so scary? What's the big deal? After all, don't they just look like big lizards with flippers and big mouth? Well, I mean, that's kind of scary enough all on its own. But let's go through some of the little factoids about Mosasaurus that some of you might not know about. Number one, Mosasaurus had stronger bite force than a T-Rex. Okay, think about that. Let that sink in. There's something swimming around in the ocean, or something that was swimming around in the ocean, that has stronger bite force than a T-Rex. And we are not going to forget that this is something that weighs 8 tons and it's like 50 foot long. On top of that, the mosasaur have a modified hearing capability. Their skull, their hearing construct, is able to uh, let them hear sound at 38 times louder than the sound actually is. So their head, their skull, is built so they can magnify sound up to 38 times, which means even when they can't see their prey, they can probably hear them. They also have extraordinary sense of smell, like other type of lizard on the land, like Komodo dragon, a monitor lizard. On top of that, they also evolved to be able to use their sonar sensors to hunt their prey, just like dolphins. Some scientists have also speculated that mosasaurs were warm-blooded, which already gives them a mighty advantage over cold-blooded creatures in the ocean, makes them much more efficient, and they wouldn't slow down when the water got too cold. There are other scary adaptation about mosasaurs as well. For instance, their teeth are like fish hooks, and every time they bite their prey, there's a set of inner teeth that build into the palate, the upper palate. of their jaw. We're going to show that in a little bit on this action figure. But there's a set of inner teeth that act like an escalator built out of fangs, and these teeth will pull the prey back towards their throat whenever they bite down. Scientists have measured using simulation how much meat a mosasaur can take off a prey in every bite. And during the simulation, it was shown that with every bite, a mosasaur can rip off and take in about 4 foot worth of flesh. Okay, that's really scary. That's really scary. This means it can eat a 20-foot animal in about 5 bites. Yeah, let that sink in for a second. Basically, one of the catchphrases that we hear over and over and over again when people talk about mosasaurs and biologists talking about mosasaurs is these things would have been able to eat a full-grown human in one bite. Okay, that's something that is recurring that people talk about all the time. And again, when we're doing size comparison, we're going to illustrate that, and you'll get to watch this mosasaur eat action figures. Mosasaurs were also evolved to have flippers or paddles rather than their original feet, and their tails were super long. Almost half of their body length would be their tails, which unfortunately on these action figures of the mosasaurs, it's kind of sacrificed a little bit because they have to shorten it somehow. So they did truncate the tail a little bit. The tails are not long enough for proper measurement. But hey, this is from Jurassic Park, so no one ever accused Jurassic Park for getting everything right. So I guess it's okay. It's okay. And at least one thing they do get right is the shape of the tail. Originally, when mosasaurs were just lizards on the land, their tails were rounded like snake tails. But after they got into the ocean and evolved into this giant predator, their tail kind of changed shape into this flat alligator shaped tail, and I totally just grabbed a mosasaur by the tail. That was cool. Yeah, so the tail shape is flattened and really long, and they use this giant tail to propel themselves through the water. They mostly hunted as ambush predators. They would sit at the bottom of the ocean, hiding in rocks and corals and sand, and they wait until something come closer, and then they use their tail to propel themselves out at super speed and snap their huge jaw down around the prey. Getting bitten by something like this would probably be instant death for most things. I mean, unless it's something really big. And one of the more disturbing facts about mosasaurs is sometimes when times get lean and they get really hungry, they will eat other mosasaurs. So they were cannibals. If you guys have watched Jurassic World, uh, and you might have remembered the mosasaurs in that movie, not Jurassic Park, but Jurassic World. I'm talking about, right? Like it's so iconic from Jurassic World. For the most part in Jurassic World, the main monster, the main baddie was uh, the hybrid dinosaur they created called the Indominus Rex. However, the real boss of the show really was the Mosasaurus, because at the end of the movie, when the Indominus Rex was kicking the butt of the T-Rex and the Raptors, and they just like seemed so unstoppable, the friggin' Mosasaurus just came up and ate it. So yeah, I think spoiler alert. I mean, it's such an old movie. I don't know if that's even a spoiler anymore, but if it was, sorry. Uh, but yeah, like if you haven't seen it, like that make it really worth watching. Now, obviously, the Mosasaur in the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World don't really look like how they should in real life, but hey, monster dinosaur movies or whatever. We're already getting to the point where they're doing hybrid fantasy dinosaurs. So hey, so what if their mosasaurs don't look realistic? Now this one, as I mentioned, is like a cousin of the previous one I showed you. It's the same size, about 29 inches long, and for the most part, it's almost the same figure, although it's different color. Okay, this one is darker. The other one, the previous one, was light blue with silver streaks. This one looks really cool. This one, at least I was told anyway. This one has a dark blue coloration, kind of like the ocean, and then these have white underbelly and white speckles all over it, almost like a starry sky, and so it looked kind of different from the previous one. This one also had blue eyes, while the previous one had yellow eyes. Um, but the real selling point of this second mosasaur, which was made by also my Mattel 4 years after the first one, uh, is that this one is called the Ocean Protector Mosasaur. And what makes it special is this one is made from a pound of recycled plastic. How cool is that? Like, I know you don't see too many action figures or stuff that say they're made from recycled plastic. And the moment I saw that, I said, I have to support this. I have to support this initiative. Um, as many of you know, I talked about this before. I am not really into getting multiple copies of a same figure, right? If I have a Batman, I pretty much don't want another one. If I have a Spider-Man, I don't really want another one. Uh, but in this case, I broke my own rule because one, I want to support the recycled plastic stuff. I thought that was really cool, and second, because Mosasaur is not a character, it's a type of monster, it's a type of creature. So if you have three or four of them, or in this case just two, it's fine. It's fine. And these two actually, even though they feel very similar, they do look visually, I guess, different enough. So people can instantly tell them apart. Now, even in the construction, there's a little bit of a difference, not much, but a little. The plastic used on this version, like I said, it's recycled plastic. So it's a lot squishier. Like this one is really squishy, right? And because it's such a soft plastic, the details on the scales are not as sharp as the previous one. So they do feel a little bit different. And if you look at the skewed and scales on the back and down the length of the body, um, these things they are not as pronounced as the previous one. Okay, this one, in another word, the previous one. If I put my hand on it and you tell me this is like supposed to feel like an alligator, I say yeah, it really does. Okay. Uh, this one, however, this one feels just like plastic. Okay. It feels glossy. It feels slippery. It doesn't have that really cool, almost organic feel to it. But hey, it's recycled plastic, so I I, I guess uh, it makes sense. And I'm sorry if the camera just went a bit wonky there. I'm not used to doing it from this angle, so I keep touching the parts of the screen that I'm not supposed to. I hope this is still working. Um, One thing I will show you guys where this one is an improvement on the previous one. The tail on the previous one, the one that was made 4 years before this one, the real feel Mosasaur, that one, the tail was not articulated. The only thing articulated were the flippers and the jaw. Now on this one, the jaw is still articulated, and the flipper is still articulated. But on this one, there's a bit of a nice little surprise. The tail on this one is articulated. They have nice articulation on the tail. So that's pretty cool. So they didn't just make exactly the same figure and re-release that. They actually added one articulation point. So having these two, uh, they are just really cool. I'm a big dinosaur person. I love prehistoric biology and creatures and stuff like that. And on top of that, I love giant action figures, and these are so big. They're awesome to look at. Um, so uh, the fact that this one was made from recycled plastic, I feel that it's fitting to show this one today on a plastic-free International Plastic-Free Day. Now, we are going to have some fun and look at uh, how it compares with regular action figures. Now, rather than having our usual method of comparison where I just stand another action figure beside it, um, this thing we're going to do a little bit different today because one is this was actually meant to be a 1/18th scale Mosasaur. So technically speaking, you should just use this for 3 to 4 inch action figures. Okay. Um, Also, secondly, one of the things that we constantly hear people talk about is it's going to be able to eat a fully grown human with one bite, right? So we're going to use that as our measuring stick. Can this work with your 112 or 6 or 7 inch scale action figure, or is this really too small, even though it's almost 30 inches long? Let's take a look at the jaw. Actually, oh, I totally forgot about that. Let me show you guys these inner teeth on this toy. I'm like literally holding this upside down, uh, grabbing it by the tail, and having the camera right inside its jaw. So I don't know if you guys can actually see this. If you look at the what you're looking at right now is the upper jaw, and there's the big regular row of teeth on the outside, and then on the inside of the palate, there's these smaller teeth run all the way back into the throat of this animal. So these are called terminator teeth. There has never been other ocean predators that have these. I don't know if there's any land predators that have these either. Just crazy, scary adaptation that the mosasaur developed to eat their prey with. So what it does is every time it the mosasaur take a bite on the prey, these inner teeth will drag the meat back towards their throat. And then so basically they bite and then the inner teeth drag the prey in and then they take another bite and just kept biting until the whole prey is gone like that. Really scary stuff. Okay, so like I said, this thing is supposed to be able to eat a full-grown human with one bite. So let's see if it really can do that to action figures of various sizes. I don't have a lot of small, like 3 inch action figures, but the Dungeon Master from Dungeons and Dragon line fits the bill. Okay, he's about 3 inches tall. So as you can see, he is standing like at full 3 inches, and he's standing upright, and he is standing inside the jaw of this mosasaur. Okay, so this is not only eating him whole, It's eating him whole while he's standing up, right? This is crazy. Now, I don't know if the real mosasaur would be able to open their jaw this wide, although considering like snakes can do that, so it wouldn't surprise me if these things could either. So yeah, eating a 3-inch action figure, even though it's a uh, bulky one like the Dungeon Master, no problem. Now here's a 5-inch action figure. This is Ada from Resident Evil. She's a 5-inch figure, and yeah, she can't stand up straight. But if you make her flex her knee a little bit, like kneel down a little bit, again, top to bottom, fit right into the wide open jaw of this creature, right? So eating a 5-inch action figure still very easy. Like to this beast, this 5-inch action figure would be like a appetizer. Now, moving up in the world, we are looking at a 6-inch modern size Spider-Man. We've seen this Spidey many times for size comparison. He's a good one to use. Um, and as we can see, if he's standing up, yeah, he's not going to fit into the jaw. It's not going to be that easy. But considering I doubt people will get eaten standing up, right? Most of the time, when you see people get attacked by creatures, they'll either bite them from the side like this, or they'll bite them from the top like this. So if we lay Spider-Man right inside the jaw, look at that. 6-inch Spider-Man almost fully disappear inside the jaw. Like, if this thing can swallow, I'm pretty sure this would be able to swallow Spider-Man like this, no problem, right? So yes, it is not quite large enough to be like a 50-foot monster, but comparing to your 6-inch figures, yeah, it might be a smaller than average mosasaur, but it's still a crazy big uh, sea creature that's going to be able to eat your Spider-Man with one bite. So okay, let's go a little bit bigger. Okay, we are going up to a 7-inch scale action figure. Here is a Green Lantern from McFarlane Toy, which is in the 7-inch scale. And as you can see, yeah, okay. Again, not going to fit in the mouth if he's standing up, but if the mosasaur catch him from the side, let's say like how people normally would get bitten when they're swimming. Yeah, ouch. I don't think he's going to survive that. So, while it might not be able to swallow him whole in one bite, as you can see, if we lay him down along the jaw, yeah, he's sticking out a little bit. Uh, but if it snap him up from the side, he is not surviving that. He is going to bite him in half, no problem. Now we have Captain America just casually leaning against the side of the mosasaur. And again, we are seeing that, yes, even though Captain America is quite large, he's over 6 inches tall, and he's pretty well built, but right next to this smaller than normal mosasaur action figure who was meant for a much smaller scale, this thing just towers over Captain America in every single way. I think the front flipper alone is bigger than his whole body. So yeah, don't let it fool you. I mean, yes, it is not as big as it could be, but it is plenty big enough. Now, before we go, I'm going to try to bring in the previous version so we can have the two cousin mosasaurs stand. Well, they don't really stand, but we can have them together for a final money shot. Yeah, look at that. This two snout to snout, they take up my entire kitchen counter. Now, admittedly, I don't have a very big kitchen counter, but this should give you guys an idea of how big and how difficult it would be to display a 50-foot or 50 inches mosasaur because you put these two together and that's basically kind of how big it would be and it would take up this much room. So in some ways, I'm kind of sad that we never got a proper sized one for a 6-inch scale, but in some ways, I'm kind of glad because I don't think I would be able to find a place to display it. It wouldn't be able to fit on any bookshelf or anywhere. So I would probably have to buy a coffee table just to put it on. Even this too, you guys can make out cover my entire kitchen counter from end to end, and uh, this is just so impressive. Good job, Mattel. Like I said, I don't say this often because Mattel they do have a tendency to make some lousy action figures, but when they make these mosasaurs, they totally uh, hit the mark. It's like 100% awesomeness. Thank you for checking out today's Toy Thursday. Hopefully, this will uh, suffice as a very environmentally friendly episode, and I'll be back again tomorrow for some Fitness Friday.